Prices are out of control. There's no other way to look at it. All these streaming services, music, video, whatever, are all under the impression that consumers like you and me not only have unlimited financial resources, but also enjoy paying higher prices for the same, or in some cases lesser than what we originally had. This really makes me mad, and we're going to get into it right now. I want to thank you guys for all the well wishes. I'm back and healthier than I've been for quite a while. I was out of commission. I had a chance to stop for a second, look around, and noticed a lot I had missed. I watched a ton of YouTube videos on how out of control streaming services have gotten. One of the YouTube channels I consistently watched while recovering was Louis Rossman's. He frequently addresses the topic of predatory business practices that destroy consumer freedom. These include preventing third-party or DIY repairs, stripping away content and convenience while raising prices, and reducing ownership to merely holding a license rather than the actual product. If you're interested in this topic, check out his channel. However, many of his videos brought me to the realization that there are quite a bit of companies out there right now who feel they can do whatever the hell they want for whatever reason, and completely disregard the end user. Every service has raised their prices since their inception, which was expected over time. The reason I cut the cord in the first place was to lower my expenses for services I don't need or use or necessarily want in my life. I had gotten sick of paying $200 a month for cable and internet. So let me break down what I am paying for now, because this subscription culture has gotten completely out of control. So with Amazon, I pay for Prime, which is $13.05. And now Prime Video Channels has just popped up on my bank statement for an additional $10.87. I think what they did was separate Prime from the video service, which was originally, I think, included with Prime. Peacock, $12.94 for the service without ads. I use Peacock for WWE events, which will be canceled once Raw and Premium Live events go to Netflix, so this one should eventually go away. Max is $17.40, which is how I watch Ghost Adventures and random movies. Netflix is $22.99, and Hulu is $11.87. Spotify is $16.22 because I pay for mine and my wife's. Oh, and YouTube Premium, $19.75 because I watch YouTube the most and couldn't deal with any more ads. I know, the irony. So let's math it out. That's $125.09 per month to enjoy the content I regularly watch. And that doesn't include the internet, which is now $117.23, which they raised from the $85 that it was last month. Blown away. $242 a month for two people to watch some shows and movies and go online. You would think at this price point I was able to watch anything I want all the time, but it's not always the case. Now, what's really making me angry is that Amazon is now integrating ads on their paid Prime content. They said, okay, we're gonna charge you more for what you already had, throw in ads, and then offer you the opportunity for a no ad experience, which is what I already had, for more money. What sense does this make, guys? It's ridiculous. Netflix is doing something similar where they'll have a lower price tier with ads to drive more subscribers. This is a win-win for them because advertisers pay a lot of money, and if they have a steady stream of advertisers and new subscribers, the cash flow is there. I'm sure some of you remember the days that basic TV had commercials and premium cable TV didn't. That didn't age well, now did it? We make a spectacle of commercials during the Super Bowl, right? These media companies found a way to make commercials entertaining. We've truly reached a point where these companies work hard to just shove their products and services down our throats, and oftentimes we welcome it. You'd think with all these options available to us, we would be in full control of what we watch. You would think that with all these options I pay for every month, I'd have consistent access to anything I want to watch at any point in time. However, we don't have as much control over all of this as you may think. Changes in licensing, permissions, and ownership make it more difficult to rely on streaming services to provide a reliable catalog of the content we want to watch. Unfortunately for us, removing certain properties and content is sometimes the best way for these media giants to reduce costs. So what this means is that if one of your favorite movies or shows doesn't drive enough engagement, retention, or subscriptions, These services would rather stop paying to host it on their platform than continue paying for something a small percentage of us enjoy. This only gets more complicated when dealing with the constant mergers and acquisitions.
I'm into murders and executions mostly.
Disney is one of the most notable when it comes to acquiring companies with the intention of ruining them. I'm sorry, I'm still thoroughly salty that we haven't gotten a decent Marvel movie in years. Full circle here, all this means is that when a media giant like Disney or Amazon purchases another media giant and they merge, this means that you may lose out on content you already had access to before, because most of the time these companies create a different platform altogether or move content from one platform to another. Like when Disney took over Marvel, all the cool Marvel stuff on Netflix that was just there to watch migrated over to Disney+. This may all seem micro to many of you, crying about spilled milk, right? Well, not exactly. This could be a macro problem if left unchecked, because let's say you're on season 4 of a show you're really getting into, and season 5 is the final season, and let's say Amazon buys the rights to that show, rips it out from wherever you were watching it, and puts it on a platform you don't even subscribe to. Are you going to subscribe to yet another platform? I did, many times. That's why I pay $100 and something a month for all these services and madness. How all this correlates with cable is that I stopped paying for cable because I felt that the networks gave priority to advertisers. It felt like shows were getting shorter and commercials were getting longer. Prices were getting higher and value was dropping significantly. I wanted something free of ads, free of high prices and unnecessary components I had to pay for each month, like DVRs and TV boxes. I wanted something new, modern, user-friendly. I thought I had that when Netflix first started out, but I quickly realized that greed always gets them in the end. Piracy is not something new. Remember the little black boxes back in the cable days? As prices get higher and higher and higher and higher, it motivates a certain sector in our society to pirate the content and share it across the world for free. People feel more inclined to go down this route when they see these media companies raising prices indiscriminately more and more often these days. For example, I met a guy I bought an amplifier from a while back. He showed me his home theater and, turned on his Plex server. This guy had pirated every single show and movie you can possibly think of, hosting it on his server and sharing it with his family and friends. He even offered me access to it, and I had just met the guy. I didn't want anything to do with that. The guy was a bit weird, but when I browsed his catalog, he had literally downloaded everything and anything you can think of from torrents online. His catalog far exceeded anything the big media companies had access to. I mean, when I explain it like that, sure, it sounds nice. And look, if you own the content on physical media, rip it to your PC. Create your own local streaming service with things you already bought. I don't know. If these companies don't start creating some serious value here soon, you might see more people wave the skull flag and go down that dark path. We all know that piracy is stealing, but you have to think about something. If buying isn't owning nowadays, why is piracy considered stealing? Now, what I mean by buying isn't owning is, let's say you buy a few digital versions of movies or shows on Amazon or whatever service, and you own the right to watch that content on that platform. Let's say Amazon's deal for the rights to that show or that movie falls through and you don't have access to it anymore. This is why I'm a huge proponent of physical media. If you can physically hold it in your hand, then more than likely you own it. If you're just paying for something transmitted through air, well then, I suppose you take those risks as well. A quote that resonates with me from Gabe Newell, the president and co-founder of the video game company Valve Corporation, said, "The easiest way to stop piracy is not by putting anti-piracy technology to work, it's by giving those people a service that's better than what they're receiving from the pirates." Let that sink in. Is piracy right? Well, in my eyes, no. I'm all about supporting and purchasing what I want to own. It's just how I'm hardwired. But let's be honest, streaming services have driven many people to piracy. Why? Because they aren't offering the value they're more than capable of providing. The key to winning in this industry is simple. Provide a clear path to the content people want to watch in a streamlined and robust fashion. No hidden costs, no changing the terms and conditions after the fact, and definitely no removing content that was promised to be available. Right now, with the Netflixes and Amazons of the world, we're paying for a service where we constantly have to live in uncertainty. One day you have access to your favorite show and the next day it's gone. It's like playing Russian roulette with your watch list. Until these companies learn their lesson, many people will pirate their content, not just for financial reasons, but out of principle. So what's the takeaway here? If streaming services want to curb piracy, they need to offer consistent value without pulling the rug out from under their customers. Otherwise, the pirate flag will keep flying high. Thank you folks for tuning into my first video back from the dead. I appreciate all the well wishes and kind words. I'm back, and I'm coming stronger than ever. As much as being out of commission for weeks sucks, it's the pause I needed to gather my thoughts and intentions with this channel. Part of me debated whether to keep going at all, or call it quits.
We don't quit at halftime, ma'am. You don't score until you score.
I'm not going anywhere. I have a lot of good work to do. I have new products to review, fresh new perspectives and topics to discuss, and some really interesting guests to chat with. If you're interested in supporting my efforts, there is a Patreon you can subscribe to, as well as a hi-fi t-shirt shop where I sell many of the shirts you see me often wearing on here. These small efforts contribute to the big picture and allow me to expand my quality, my resources, and keep the machine alive. Thank you all to those who checked up on me and who are dedicated to watching me grow and succeed. If you enjoyed this video, play cards with the like button.
Christ almighty, it's like I'm sitting here playing cards with my brother's kids or something. You nerve-wracking sons of bitches. Something on your mind? Tired of your
I'm getting tired of your gas. Now jerk that pistol and go to work.
Subscribe to the channel to help me grow, and of course, ring the bell to get notified every time a new video is born. With all that said and done, friends, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.